I should have known the day would go sideways the second I spotted Camille's pearl-white BMW holding court in the Branson Prep lot. I was just dropping off Emma's science fair volcano, no drama, no speeches, when my ex-wife's voice cut the October air like a fire alarm. "Still driving that rusty Honda that embarrasses our family? Get a real car or don't come around." Every head in a 50-foot radius pivoted. The smart move would have been to trade barbs. Instead, I nodded, set the volcano back in my Civic, and rolled out. In my mirror, the BMW tucked in 3 lengths behind and shadowed me through the back streets of Branson Hills, left on Maple, right on Burwood, left on Sycamore, like we were staging a very quiet chase. By the time I turned onto my street, her mind had already written the ending. Modest 2-story colonial, neat lawn, practical car, same old me. She killed the engine, stepped out in heels that probably cost more than my mortgage, and scanned the house with open disdain. "This is where you live now?" I walked past her to the garage. "You followed me. You might as well see the rest." The door rose to polished epoxy and motion-sensed LEDs. Then the first silhouette stepped into the light, charcoal Lamborghini, Huracan Evo. Beside it, a deep blue McLaren 720S, then a black Ferrari 488 GTB, paint flawless, carbon fiber winking under the LEDs. Camille inhaled like the air had thinned. "What is this?" "I keep the Honda for daily driving," I said. "These are for weekends." Her brain grabbed at the last story it had. "But you work at a school." "That's what I let people think." I led her through the mudroom to my office. Not a man cave, a command center. 8 34-inch monitors stitched into a wall of live dashboards, a glass rack of enterprise servers humming behind climate control, a desk that looked like it belonged in mission control. "I own CodeSpring Innovations," I told her. "We build cybersecurity systems and AI infrastructure for hospitals, schools, and a few agencies I'm not allowed to name." Her eyes fled to the only screens she could parse. Numbers. Annual revenue, 76.2. Active clients, 312 Q4 profit margin, 47% net assets, 91 millimeters. "You're joking," she said, voice flat. I slid over an award. National Cybersecurity Summit, outstanding. Innovation. Then I pointed at the wall. Partnership frames with Stanford and MIT, a DoD agreement, even NASA. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" she asked. "Because back then you only listened to what looked good on paper," I said. "You never asked what I did, only what it paid. When I started the company, you called it a hobby. You were more interested in what your friends' husbands drove." She remembered. I could see it. "Money wasn't the point," I added, pulling up a different dashboard. "Impact was." The CodeSpring Foundation metrics lit the room. $14 million donated to low-income schools, 62 tech labs built and supported 98 full scholarships funded, with Mentors free AI training used by 50,000-plus high schoolers across 43 states. Before she could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Madge, Jenner Patricia Wyatt, DoD. "Green light confirmed. Awarded the 52-millimeter defense contract. Meeting next Friday." "The Pentagon?" Camille whispered. "We're deploying adaptive learning." "For defense training," I said. "It personalizes instruction in real time. Cuts training time by 1/3 and sticks better. Same tech scales to classrooms." She looked around again. Servers, patents, monitors, the quiet order of a life she'd never imagined. And finally, exhaled. I had no idea. Back in the garage, she stood between the Lamborghini and the Ferrari, smaller than when we'd left the school. "I mocked you," she said softly. "In front of everyone. I'm sorry." I glanced at the Civic. "You called it rusty. It helped me stay invisible while I built all this. That's the point. Real success doesn't need to shout." Will you tell Emma? She asked. In time, I said. I want her to learn that lesson the right way. She started for the BMW, then turned. What car will you bring next time? I looked at the Huracan, then at the Honda. Maybe that one. Maybe the Honda. Depends on how I feel. Her taillights disappeared down Cedar Lane. I opened the Ferrari, settled into the leather, and pressed the starter. The V8 barked to life, loud, unapologetic. I wasn't driving to prove anything to anyone. I was driving because I could.